Welcome everyone to ESPN College Football presented by Nokia this afternoon in Clemson, the final home game for 20 Tiger seniors. It's an emotional day, the last time they'll rub Howard's rock and run down the hill before 80,000 adoring fans. It's a day filled with emotion for the Bowden family as well. Dad Bobby coaches against son Tommy for the 7th time. The Bowden Bowl also matches brother against brother as Tommy's younger brother Jeff is Dad's offensive coordinator. The Bowdens say the hoopla has died down since the first Bowden Bowl, but you wouldn't know it by the crush of media around them on the field earlier, including our Rob Stone.
We begin yet another Bowden Bowl. And Coach, what kind of fatherly advice pass on to your son about today's game?
I won't give him a bit of advice. I'll be asking him for advice.
Now, you've got a little trump card in your back pocket here today, right by your side.
Yeah, I got my son. We need everything. It'll be our 12th man.
He's my grandson. He's my 12th man.
Counts half.
Where do the loyalties lie, Dad or Grandpa?
Clemson today. Dad pays the bills.
Come on, man, you can't take Dad paying the bills.
Don't forget, I pay it in the summer when we go on vacation.
I'm only 51.
Typical Bowdens, guys.
Yeah, good to see you.
It is indeed. They manage to laugh and smile now, but it winds up being a painful day in some ways for the family because, as both head coaches noted earlier this week, somebody you love has to lose. Florida State and Clemson. The telecast on ESPN HD, available in high definition, presented by Phillips. And welcome everybody to Bowden Bowl 7. Sean McDonough along with Mike Gottfried. Delighted to have you with us. Beyond the Bowdens, it's a very important game for both teams, particularly for Clemson. Mike, they are 5-4. They need to win one of their last two against either Florida State today or South Carolina to become bowl eligible, and they're doing it with a question mark at quarterback.
Yeah, Charlie Whitehurst, a very good quarterback, has been good for Clemson. Didn't practice last week. Didn't play against Duke. I looked at him before the game on the field. He's throwing the ball well. I expect him to play well, Sean, but Florida State to get after him early.
Sore shoulder brought on by a lot of throwing. Bobby Bowden against son Tommy. Bobby's won 5 out of the 6, but Tommy's win here in 2003 saved his job. When we asked Tommy yesterday if he thought his job was saved by that victory in 2003, he said, I think that's a safe statement. His contract was extended after that win, which started a nice late season run. They beat South Carolina, their rival. They beat Tennessee in the Peach Bowl, and Tommy wound up with a contract extension through 2010, and just as importantly, Mike, a big buyout. So if they want to get rid of him now, they have to pay a lot of money to do so, multi-million-dollar buyout. Tommy says, I think I'm out of the woods for right now.
Yeah, some big bucks. I think he's out of the woods too. Close
Florida
games
State
this
won
year,
the
Sean.
toss and deferred, so Clemson will receive the opening kickoff. Florida State dressed in white. Graham Gano kicks off. High and short, and caught by Tyler Grisham on the run. He did well to field that. Had to run a long way up to catch it, and he ran it 11 yards out to the 29-yard line. Charlie Whitehurst had a string of 37 straight starts, ended when he could not go in the last game against Duke. Will Proctor led them to victory. We expect to see Proctor today. Whitehurst, the owner of 40 Clemson records for quarterbacks, including 14 career marks. He's their all-time leader in passing yardage with more than 9,100 yards. Senior from Duluth, Georgia, has already graduated. And a handoff on first down to Reggie Merriweather. He tried to turn the corner. It's a gain of just 1. Let's take a look at our Nivea for Men starting lineups. Merriweather will split time in the backfield with the freshman James Davis. Bayham and Stuckey, part of a deep wide receiver group. Stuckey had 2 touchdowns last week. Up front, Richardson, Fry, Myrick, and Dukes. Rob Spence, the offensive coordinator, says that line has been the strength of the Clemson offense. And if you're wondering, the Frys are not related. Whitehurst zings one. The shoulder looked fine there. It's caught for a first down. Curtis Bayham out to the 46-yard line. A gain of 16 and a first down for Clemson.
Sean, when you get to this point of the year, most quarterbacks' arms are tired. But Charlie Whitehurst, with the week's rest, comes out here, makes a good throw on the first throw.
Whitehurst says he doesn't really know what's wrong with the shoulder. He doesn't think it's anything serious structurally. And the only way they could find out for sure is to stick a camera in it, and he doesn't want to have that happen at this point of his last season. Merriweather dropped for a loss. Buster Davis leading the surge. It's been a Florida State defense prone to giving up the big play lately. Boston Bunkley, Llewellyn and Jones up front. They're without Cameron Wimbley, their outstanding defensive end, sidelined with a knee injury. Perhaps the best linebacking core in the country, Sims and Nicholson both among the 10 semifinalists for the Butkus Award. And the secondary shaky from time to time. Youngsters at the corners with the veterans Watkins and Hall, the safeties. They've been giving up big plays lately of the Seminoles. Here's a catch and nearly a first down to the 45-yard line. Chancey Stuckey leading the ACC in receptions per game at 5.2. Has an 11-yard pickup. It'll be 3rd down and 1. Tony Carter made the tackle.
Good job by the offensive line. Charlie Whitehurst steps out of the pocket. Chancey Stuckey comes back for the football. Runs a good route.
Stuckey, a converted quarterback, his second year as a wide receiver. Merriweather on 3rd and short. Powers for the first down. A.J. Nicholson managed to drag him down after a gain of 3. 1st and 10 Clemson. Here's Rob Stone.
Sean, some interesting pregame quotes in the locker room from Tommy Bowden to his team. Told his guys, hey, nothing will happen in the first 5 minutes of this game that will determine the outcome of it. Play under control. And then he went on to challenge his offense. How physical and tough can you play? And then I love this quote, guys. Make them talk about you on TV today. Start talking, guys.
We're doing the best we can, Rob. Thank you very much. Here comes the Florida State blitz. Whitehurst had time. He's going deep for Stuckey, and he could not hang on. Excellent coverage by Tony Carter. And very nearly a touchdown for Whitehurst and the Tigers. Carter has been playing of late with a sore shoulder.
Stuckey gets behind Tony Carter. Makes a great effort for the football. Couldn't bring it in.
Well, he grabbed the face mask. The crowd saw the same replay you did, and that's why you could hear a groan in the background. 2nd and 10. These are the top 2 offenses in the ACC that you'll see today in total offense. Florida State number 1, Clemson number 2. Little screen for Stuckey. But he's down to the 37, a gain of 5. Pat Watkins the stop.
Talking to the Florida State defensive coaches before the football game, they said that Clemson has run 41 screens in the last 4 ball games. So they're very observant of this. They told their defensive backs, the linebackers, hunt out the screen pass.
Both of these offenses are big screen teams. 3rd down and 5 Clemson on the opening possession of the game. Curtis Bayham, the motion man. The Noles rush 5. The pass is caught for a first down. With that brief run after the catch by LaDante Harris, he got 7 and moved the chains. Harris, a sophomore from Gadsden, Alabama.
And this is not the way you want to start if you're Florida State's defense. Charlie Whitehurst is getting comfortable. If he gets comfortable, he'll pick apart this defense. No rush by Florida State's defense.
Tigers much improved offensively. Nearly 100 yards per game more than last year. New offensive look, better running game led by the offensive coordinator Rob Spence. And right on cue, Reggie Merriweather turns the corner. J.R. Bryant made the tackle. And Mike, it does raise the question about motivation for Florida State. They've already clinched their division of the ACC. They're going to play in the conference's first ever championship game in Jacksonville. Even though they lost last week to NC State, they clinched the division because Boston College also lost. So they don't have as much to play for seemingly today as Clemson.
No, I think I believe you're right. I talked to the Florida State coaches. They said they had a great week of practice.
There's Stuckey continuing a very nice looking drive. Down to the 14-yard line goes Stuckey, the junior from Warner Robins, Georgia, about an hour south of Atlanta. Tyler Hall made the tackle.
And you talked about motivation. Clemson needs that win. They don't want to go down to the last game against South Carolina without being bowl eligible.
Tommy Bowden's team in recent years has finished strong. Each of the last 2 years, they've won 5 of their last 6. They have a chance to do that again this year. After a 2-3 start. Problems with the snap. Flags down. Whitehurst went diving on the football.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 6, quarterback pulled out early. 5-yard penalty, repeat the down.
Jack Childress, the referee. Clemson, one of the least penalized teams in the country, 12th fewest penalties this year.
It looked like Charlie Whitehurst was moving on his cadence. The center did not snap the football.
First and 15. Dustin Fry is the center. There's a lot of the adjustments for the offensive line. Handoff and nothing doing. Reggie Merriweather, the junior from North Augusta, South Carolina, who's rushed for 100 yards or more in each of the last 3 games. Had a tough time getting started that time.
And the strength of this offensive football team is the offensive line. They're tough. They like to come off. They like to run block.
He's their leading rusher and a touchdown maker. 17 TDs in the last 15 games. They're 10-5 in their last 15 games dating back to last season, and all 5 losses have been by 6 points or less. Whitehurst for the end zone. Caught! Touchdown, Clemson. Chancey Stuckey beat Pat Watkins for a 22-yard score.
Chancey Stuckey ran a post route against the safety. Pat Watkins open.
Chad Dean for the extra point. And it is good. He's made 28 straight PATs. Chancey Stuckey caught his first touchdown pass of his career last week on his 72nd career catch. He's now had 3 touchdowns in the last 2 games. Clemson leads 7-0. Charlie Whitehurst leading a 12-play, 72-yard drive. He was 5 out of 6 on the march for Clemson, including the 22-yard touchdown pass. Chad Dean kicks off. Comes down to Willie Reed. One of the best return men in Florida State history. Did not reach the 20 that time. Wayne Coleman made the tackle with Nick Watkins, an 18-yard return. Now let's go back and take a look at the touchdown pass for Clemson.
Pitch and catch. The corner is going to sit on the outside safety. Pat Watkins there. Chancey Stuckey ran the post route. Pitch and catch. Too easy.
Perhaps a bad omen for Florida State. It's the 3rd time this year they've given up a touchdown on the opponent's scoring drive. First scoring drive of the game, first possession of the game. And in those 2 games, it was Virginia and North Carolina State. Those are the 2 losses for Florida State. Lorenzo Booker out to the 20. The defensive players for Clemson imploring the crowd to make some noise and try to cause a problem for Drew Weatherford. The redshirt freshman leading the Atlantic Coast Conference in passing yards per game at 258. Also 15 touchdowns. He's the leading freshman passer in the nation. Jeff Bowden and the offensive staff prepared Weatherford and the offense for the noise they would face here today. The officials have stopped the play for a moment.
We have a timeout. Clemson. That's your first timeout of the half.
Jeff Bowden thought that would be the biggest challenge. How would they prepare for this crowd noise in Death Valley? They pumped a lot of extra crowd noise into their practices in Tallahassee this week. While we have a moment, let's look at the Nivea for Men starting lineup on offense for Florida State. They're #1 in the ACC in scoring at 34 points per game. Booker with Coleman, the fullback, Henshaw, good receiver at tight end, and Davis and Reed, the starters, with a very deep core of wide receivers. The offensive line is banged up. They're without John Frady and Matt Meinrod, would-be starters. Cornelius Lewis gets the call, the freshman at right guard. He was third string at the start of the year. The glue of that line is David Castillo, the outstanding student and center, who makes the calls up front as a team captain.
And Sean, that offensive line is really the problem for FSU's offensive football team, because they're not a good running football team. And would you think with Booker and Washington, those guys, they'd be able to run the ball better.
Weatherford out of the shotgun. On 2nd and 9, had a man open, and it was incomplete. He was looking for Willie Reed, and under some duress as he threw it from a Clemson defense that's been up and down. They gave up more than 300 yards passing to Duke in their last game. Not a season highlight. Bennett, Groover, Tate, and Adams. Adams, the big playmaker up front. The linebackers are Billy, Waters, and Watkins. Waters has had an outstanding year. Hill, one of the best cornerbacks in the country. Coleman was on offense a month and a half ago. And fine safeties, particularly Jamal Fudge, who has 9 career receptions. 3rd and long, a big rush, a middle screen. Booker, very near the first down at the 29-yard line. Booker with his 31st catch of the year. That's a single season career best, and it looks like relative to that yellow line he might be a tad short. Well, maybe not now that they put the ball down. Great effort by Lorenzo Booker. We spoke with him during the week. He's very frustrated that they've had a tough time getting the running game going. He says, I think if we committed more to the run, we could be more effective in the run, but we've had such success passing. You understand why we haven't run as much.
Yeah, I think they have to run the football better. That's a 31st catch by Lorenzo Booker.
And it's good for a first down. So big conversion. With the crowd going crazy early and fully engaged in the game, the Noles quiet them by moving the chains. Booker's a junior from Ventura, California. Said he was hoping to go back home to Southern California to play in the Rose Bowl in the national championship. That won't happen. He's pulled down by Corey Groover. He says, however, we still can't have one of the best seasons in Florida State history. If we went out, we'll go to a BCS bowl game, have a chance to win 11 games.
Corey Groover makes this play 2 weeks ago. He was a defensive lineman on the 3rd team. Vic Koenig, the defensive coordinator, said that when the weather got cool, he got gone.
Good hole on the left side. And Booker out to the 35-yard line. They'll need 4 more on 3rd down. Here's Reese Davis.
All right, Sean, Taco Bell studio update. Let's go to the big house. Indiana and Michigan Hoosiers have put a touchdown on the board in a place they haven't won since 1967. But Chad Henne to the tight end Tyler Ecker were locked up at 7 halfway through the first.
Hoosiers need to win their last 2 games to go to a bowl game.
3rd down and 4. Weatherford out of the gun. Jeff Bowden told us he's more comfortable out of the shotgun. He has time, and he got hit, and it's incomplete. Got hit by Charles Bennett, and the pass landed at the feet of Chris Davis. Well, the defense rises to the occasion for Clemson, and Florida State will punt.
And Charles Bennett said, the last time in Death Valley for me, he said, I'm going to play the hardest football game I've played all year.
Chris Hall, the punter, one of 10 semifinalists for the Ray Guy Award, is the best punter in the nation. That won't earn him any honors, but the punt is muffed. And recovered by Clemson. 30-yard punt. They did well to get back on it. Chancey Stuckey muffed it and got it back.
ESPN's College Football is presented by Nokia. It's more than just a phone. It's your life in there. Nokia. And in part by Nexium. Talk to your doctor about prescription Nexium. And Saturn.
On 1st and 10, James Davis, the talented freshman with great speed, bursts out to the 41-yard line. An 11-yard gain on the first carry of the day for Davis, who's playing with a cast on his left wrist. He broke his wrist during a memorable performance against NC State, rushed for 143 yards in just more than one half of play. Returned to action briefly against Georgia Tech and Duke, particularly last week against Duke.
When you look at a running back with a cast on, you figure when he's in the football game, they're going to run the football with him.
Flag down as Davis carried again. One thing he will not do is switch the ball from arm to arm. He's going to carry the ball in that right arm regardless of which direction he's heading and where the tacklers are coming from.
The big cast is going to affect him catching the football and pass protection, but he can run the football
Offside,
with that cast.
Left end of the defense in the neutral zone. It's a 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
He was catching passes with it in practice the other day, particularly screen passes. We'll see if they dare to try that in a game. He did fumble once last week against Duke, but the ball went out of bounds. Clemson, a team that has lost only 3 fumbles all year, among the lowest in the nation. All 3 of those were in one game against Georgia Tech in a 1-point loss. There's Davis again. All the way to the Florida State 39-yard line. Dragged down by J.R. Bryant. 16 more on the run for Davis. You saw his average yards per carry since he broke his wrist. Perhaps they'll put a cast on the other wrist and see what happens.
3 plays, Sean, 3 runs by James Davis. Charlie Whitehurst said from the first play he wanted the football.
Averaging nearly 6 yards per carry. He was 546 yards for the season, the most by a true freshman at Clemson since 1990. Ronald Williams at 941 back down. A screen for Stuckey. Well executed. Touchdown! He was very close to the far sideline as they were in hot pursuit of Chancey Stuckey. Let's take a look. Make sure that he stayed in bounds. No, he didn't. He's out of bounds at the 5-yard line. We'll see if they blow this dead before the extra point. Clemson, nope, they didn't snap it quick enough. Boy, if they had snapped that ball and kicked the extra point, they were in the clear, but this one now is going to come back.
The previous play is under review.
And no question, he stepped out at the 5-yard line.
Ball's coming back, but Sean, what it looks like is you have a team that's fighting hard for a bowl game. You have another team that has their championship game clinched.
Looked to us like they're right on that 5-yard line, particularly from the first angle we showed you before they lined up for the extra point, that left foot came down on the sideline, and comfortably so. Jack Childress speaking with the replay booth. Bobby Bowden and Tommy Bowden-Waite, both head coaches, agreed when the first Bowden Bowl came around, it was fun. But since then, the reality that somebody's going to lose has begun to overwhelm whatever fun might be involved in the family reunion.
After further review, it's determined that the ball carrier stepped out of bounds. It is 1st and goal on the 4-yard line, Clemson.
So no touchdown for Stuckey. We mentioned after the first touchdown of this game, which Stuckey scored, he hadn't scored a touchdown as a receiver, wide receiver, in 71 passes. He caught 71 balls before he scored on the 72nd ball he caught it. That was last week against Duke. Then he scored again on the very next pass he caught. Now he has one today. So it took him a while, but he's making up for lost time.
Said the players would get on him about that.
He got a little annoyed by that. He said, hey, it's not like I've never scored a touchdown before. Chancey Stuckey, engaging young man. We visited with him yesterday. He maintained he's the best basketball player among the Tiger football players. Then we pressed him on that in the company of some of his teammates. He said, well, I'm the best guard, without any question. Play action fake. Whitehurst dumps it off short to the fullback. Cliff Harrell dropped just short of the end zone. They'll mark it near the 1-yard line. Rob Spence, the offensive coordinator, loves Harrell, and he told us yesterday, I think he's going to make a big play in this game.
Big play in this football game. He's had a quarterback. Charlie Whitehurst is playing so well here in the first quarter.
No sign of the shoulder soreness affecting him. Both fullbacks, Harrell and Steven Jackson, in the game. Moving along the line. Looked like the Noles were offside. And it is a touchdown for James Davis if it stands.
Offside, defense, the penalty is refused. The result is a touchdown.
And again, a question, Mike, on this apparent touchdown. Was he in before he went down? Yes.
Yes.
Quick strike by the Clemson Tigers. They certainly appear to be the more motivated of the two teams here today, and Jack Dean has another extra point. 6th touchdown of his career for the true freshman from Atlanta, James Davis. The Tigers out early in Bowden Bowl 7. Offensive line coach Brad Scott around his troops as we welcome you back to ESPN College Football, presented by Nokia. Clemson leads 14-0 after a 71-yard drive on just 5 plays in 2 minutes and 7 seconds. Dean's kickoff down to Kenny O'Neill. And the freshman all the way out to the 36-yard line, tackled by Dwayne Coleman. Here's Reese Davis.
Sean, in the Big Ten, Northwestern and Ohio State. Buckeyes fell behind 7-0, but Troy Smith, leader in the Big Ten in passing efficiency, doing it with his feet, tying the game at 7. Maryland and Carolina, a couple of 4-win teams trying to get to that 6-win mark and become bowl eligible. Big fella, Ralph Regent's team on top 7-3 behind a Lance Ball touchdown.
Already 5 ACC teams bowl eligible. Clemson trying to make it a 6 today. Anton Smith has come in at running back, but Rutherford's going deeper down the field. Willie Reed into Clemson territory, been out of bounds at the 40-yard line. 23 yards on the completion to Reed, who was knocked unconscious and suffered a concussion last week against NC State. Now a look at the Dr. Pepper ACC Bowl picture. Mentioned the 5 teams already eligible in the ACC. Virginia, Clemson, North Carolina, Maryland, and NC State all with work to do. The Virginia Cavaliers hope to become bowl eligible with a win today against Georgia Tech. Anton Smith, a talented true freshman. Some say the best high school running back in the country last year. Stopped for no gain.
Talked to Kevin Steele, one of the defensive coaches, about Antoine Smith. He was at Nebraska with a lot of great running backs, Thurman Thomas, Barry Sanders at Oklahoma State. He said Anton Smith is just like those guys.
Freshman from Pahokee, Florida. Actually lost a yard officially on the last play. On 2nd and 11. Smith in trouble and stumbles down back at the 45. Give Corey Groover credit for the tackle. A 5-yard loss. And it'll be 3rd down and 16.
Sean, Gaines Adams does a nice job here of keeping the ball inside. Watch number 93 come into your picture right here. Keeps his arm, outside arm free, and forced that football back inside. Made that play.
He's their big playmaker. Plays the bandit position, defensive end. Rick Koenig, their defensive coordinator, coordinated at Troy last year. DeMarcus Ware played that position, was a first-round draft pick. Rutherford in trouble, and there's Gaines Adams again. First sack for Clemson. Rashad Jackson also a part of the sack.
Gaines Adams is going to come from the top of the screen to get pressure on Weatherford. Beat the tackle right on the rush. Fast defensive lineman.
Well, another punt for Florida State. Chris Hall. With Stuckey back deep. Stuckey executed the decoy, went over his head and into the end zone. A 49-yard punt. Tonight, ESPN has the renewal of one of the SEC's oldest rivalries, as number 15 Auburn, led by Tommy Tuberville, takes on DJ Shockley and the number 9 Georgia Bulldogs. College football primetime presented by Polaroid on ESPN tonight at 7:45 Eastern. Georgia can reserve a spot in the SEC championship game if it wins out against Auburn and Kentucky, or if Florida loses to South Carolina, another game that's getting a lot of attention here in the Palmetto State today.
Yeah, DJ Shockley back. Georgia's different team with him.
Empty backfield. 5 receivers spread the formation. Quick pass to Chancey Stuckey. He's out near another first down. Here's Reese Davis.
All right, Sean, you remember the last time Texas A&M went to Norman, they lost 77-0 to the Sooners. Well, Oklahoma got it started early with Adrian Peterson. He scored a couple of touchdowns. In fact, if you go back to the 2001 visit by the Aggies to Norman, Oklahoma has now scored 129 unanswered points against the Aggies. At this rate, it'll be 168-0 by the end. It's 21-0 now.
Reese had the calculator out. Boy, Texas A&M's had a disappointing year, and it started right here at Clemson with a loss by 1 on the last-second field goal.
On the offense, 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. Repeat first down.
Very late flag on that play for clipping against the fullback Steven Jackson. That wiped out a nice gain on the completion to Stuckey. Brings the ball back to the 15-yard line. It'll be 1st and 15. officials are going to confer again before the next snap. Bobby Bowden, 51 years old, the oldest of the 4 Bowden sons born to Ann and Bobby Bowden. Says this game's excruciating for his mother because either her husband's going to lose, her youngest son Jeff's going to lose, or her favorite son Tommy is going to lose. Right now, favorite son Tommy, at least in the opinion of Tommy, he's #1, has a lead of 14 points. Pass intended for the tight end Cole Downer, incomplete.
I thought Tommy Bowden said it best. He said all the family members are going to go for Dad.
Yeah.
He's 76 years old. He needs wins to stay ahead of Joe Paterno. He said they can start on my sideline, but he said I know they're going to ease over there.
Yeah, he said at these home games, I usually get them all field passes, and I look around toward the end of the game, they've all gravitated over to Dad's side. Dad, the all-time winningest coach in Division 1A with 358, but with Penn State's resurgence, Joe Paterno now just 6 behind. Whitehurst on 2nd and long, steps up. Get back to the line of scrimmage, perhaps just cross it. And it'll be 3rd down and long. Ernie Sims made the play for Florida State. Bobby Bowden celebrated his 76th birthday on Tuesday of this past week. Tommy Bowden said, "What do you give a guy who's 76? I sent him chocolate-covered prunes." Bobby has a very mild bout with diabetes he's dealing with, and Tommy's cruel. He said, "Yeah, I'm hoping maybe you send him into some sort of mild little shock to upset his rhythm during the game." Little trickery, Stuckey lateral it back to James Davis, and he flies across midfield into Florida State territory. All the way to the 44-yard line of the Seminoles. 39 yards on the trickery for Charlie Whitehurst and the Clemson Tigers.
Yeah, Chancey Stuckey used to be a quarterback. He gets this football, and he's going to option it. Just pitch the ball to the running back, James Davis. Everybody got sucked inside. Pat Watkins saved the score.
Well, this offense is fun to watch. And many variations of the spread, coordinated by Rob Spence. He started out as a disciple of the run and shoot, pioneered by Mouse Davis, and he's tweaked it dramatically over the years. Merriweather fumbled and got it back. No gain on the play. It was very nearly the 4th lost fumble of the year for Clemson. They went 499 offensive plays. 7 games without a fumble this year before they fumbled 3 times against Georgia Tech. They were the last Division 1A team in the country to lose the fumble.
And when you talk to these guys, the players, they say we could very well be 9-0. We had some close games, didn't finish the games.
All 4 losses by 6 points or less this year, 2 of them in overtime. With Miami and Boston College. Aaron Kelly, the freshman, with a nice diving catch for a gain of 9, about a yard short of the first down at the Florida State 35 on what will be the last play of the first quarter. A quarter dominated by Clemson. 194 yards to 30 and 14 points to none in favor of the home-standing Tigers in the first quarter. Sean McDonough with Mike Gottfried and Rob Stone back in Clemson, South Carolina. Clemson leads 14-0, and that isn't even the highlight of the game for these 80,000 fans. We're going to show you the highlight in a moment. 3rd down and 1, and James Davis stopped for a loss. Back to the 39-yard line. Well, here's what we're talking about. Between quarters, a supermarket chain with a $1 million throwing contest. Chris Bostic, an Army veteran, out of Operation Enduring Freedom, a pass from 25 yards, had to throw the ball through that hole to win $1 million, and he did. And the crowd went crazy, as did all his friends and loved ones on the field. Chris Bostic, $1 million richer during our break between quarters. Here is a 56-yard field goal try by Jad Dean, longest of his season, 47 yards. He needs a hook, and he didn't get it, and he also didn't have anywhere near enough distance. You surprised by that decision by Tommy Bowden? That's a very long field goal to try.
Long field goal, and if you punt Florida State inside the 10, you may cause a turnover. But Sean, I don't remember watching Florida State all these years a first quarter where they were dominated like Clemson has dominated them on both sides of the ball.
Well, Bobby Bowden said, he told his team after last week, we have to save our season. Now that may be a strange statement given that they're going to play in the ACC championship game, but a 3-loss season at Florida State is not a success, even if you wind up in the conference title game. Booker dragged down by Tremaine Billy. Once again, here's Reese.
Sean, the head ball coach in the Gamecocks, taking on Florida and South Carolina against the first break of the day. Deflect the ball to Chris Leak, passing Chris Tucker going the other way. Wait, is that Chris Tucker 98? Or is that George Rogers, number 38, the Heisman winner for South Carolina? Set up a touchdown drive. Gators have answered with a field goal. 7-3 still in the first quarter at Williams-Brice.
I think that's why it could be imperative that South Carolina, rather than Clemson, win today if they're going to be bowl eligible. Who wants to play South Carolina needing a win to go to a bowl game with the way the Gamecocks are playing right now? Lorenzo Booker tackled in space near the line of scrimmage. Ty Hill made the tackle, and Tommy Bowden and Vic Koenig have to be very pleased with the play of their defense so far.
Yeah, and going back to what you said, I wouldn't want to have to beat South Carolina to go to a bowl, because South Carolina's gotten better every week. Steve Spurrier has done his best coaching job with this football team.
Florida in a must-win situation there to keep their SEC East hopes alive. Confusion and a timeout called by the tight end Matt Henshaw. Each team has used one timeout. While we have the opportunity, let's take a look at our Napa game track. It's Bowden Bowl 7. Bobby's Knowles have won 5 of the first 6. But it was the Tigers who came out crisply. Charlie Whitehurst, a 22-yard touchdown pass to cap the opening drive. It went to Chancey Stuckey. And James Davis from 2 yards out made it 14-0. Right now, the total offense is 199-30 in favor of Clemson. Father and son during the season generally talk about once a week. So the first year that they played each other, they went to dinner on Friday night. They went and watched grandson Ryan's high school football game. But as the years have gone on, it's been harder and harder to get together. And I think Jeff Bowden said it best. Of all the comments we heard from any of the Bowdens about this matchup, he said, you know, in this game, it's business. And in this case, you know, blood is not thicker than water. We need to win.
Yes. They all said some of us are going to take heat after this football game. And Tommy Bowden said that dinner they did the first time, it was miserable. He said nobody enjoyed it.
And Bowden pondered not coming to this game. It's filled with so much anguish for her that she decided at midweek to make the trip. Clemson rushes for after showing blitz. Weatherford's pass deflected and caught for a first down. Caught by Willie Reed, showing no after effects from the concussion suffered last week. 16 yards on the completion. We haven't seen a ball thrown yet to Greg Carr, the 6'6" freshman who left last week's game for a while with a hip pointer. He's been a big play receiver in their offense.
Yeah, he's 6'6", as you said. He comes up with big plays. They'll throw the ball up for him.
He's been bothered by injuries, as has Dakota Fagg in their wide receiver core. Lorenzo Booker rumbles out of bounds at the 16-yard line. Dwayne Coleman and C.J. Gaddis made the tackle, and a 30-yard gain for the junior Booker.
Clemson's defensive coordinator, Vic Koenig, said he's playing 10 freshmen on this defense. Sometimes, he said, they'll turn a block loose and overrun a play, and they did that on Booker on that play.
It's also without Leon Washington, the senior running back who usually splits time with Booker. He's out for the second week in a row with an ankle injury, so Booker will see the bulk of the ball carrying. He got the call that time to the 13-yard line. Then you go back to the decision. There's Vic Koenig, the defensive coordinator. The decision his boss, Tommy Bowden, made to try a long field goal. They had everything going their way. And rather than pumping in deep and make Florida State earn some momentum with a long field, they gave him the ball at the 39-yard line.
Hey, he'd like to have that call back.
Chance for the Noles to get right back in the game. Down by 2 touchdowns early in the second quarter. Play action fake by Weatherford. The Noles well covered. Weatherford with nowhere to throw it and goes out of bounds near the line of scrimmage. Let's check in again with Reese Davis.
All right, Sean, Ohio State and Northwestern Senior Day, Ohio Stadium, and Quinn Pitcock with the block, and the Butkus semifinalist A.J. Hawk. Final appearance in Ohio Stadium, scores a touchdown, and the Buckeyes are on top 21-7. Michigan has just scored again against the Hoosiers. They're up by 13 in the Big House.
Great race in the Big Ten. Greg Carr is on the field. He's their touchdown maker in pass situations ordinarily. Out wide to the left of Weatherford, who's blitzed and throws too high for Booker. He had to get it off with Anthony Waters, the middle linebacker, blitzing, and it was too high and hot for Booker to handle.
Go back to the offensive line. Not good pass protection for Drew Weatherford.
The line beset by injuries. Although Jeff Bowden said pass protection this year has been one of the things he's been most pleased with about the offense. Gary Sismasia kicks the extra point. He was 2 for 2 last week against NC State. And good from 31 this afternoon. 14-3 Clemson in the second quarter. Back in Clemson, South Carolina, Florida State on the board. An 8-play, 47-yard march. Set up the 31-yard field goal by Sismasia. And Kelly, the redshirt freshman from Atlanta. A hard-earned extra 2 or 3 at the end of the kickoff return. 27 in all. Here's Rob Stone with a very special guest.
Somebody needs to step there.
Look at Ann Bowden here is working the concession stand over here, getting these people here.
Hold people back until he gets there.
It's the Bowdens, man. There's nothing like talking to them. Hey, you were saying earlier in this week that you were not going to come down here to this game. Why'd you change your mind?
Well, you know, I felt like maybe I should. I just felt like it was my place to come and support my husband. And I was sitting on an orange seat a minute ago, but I just felt like, you know, I needed to be here. You know, I felt like it was the right thing to do.
Let me throw you one more question here after this play. Hold on, Ann.
And Bowden, Bobby's wife of 56 years. The handoff goes inside to Reggie Merriweather. Rob?
Well, so much has been made about how difficult this is for the coaches and for the families this week. How can you kind of put it into words, just what is going through your body right now, watching your son and your husband?
Well, you know, they're 2 touchdowns up on us, and that's not too good for us. But I had said the whole time, if we could just play a tight game all the way to the end, like we did, the first year we played them, and at the very end, you know, the best man wins. But, you know, they're 2 up on us now. Well, we just got 3 points out of it, but you know, it's tough. You know, I love my son, but my husband, you know, your husband has to come first.
Sean, I got one more question for after this play.
I can't wait to hear it. Well, Ann will be happy. I guess there is no question about Divided loyalty when it comes to the matriarch of the Bowden clan, Andre Fluellen. A sack to make her happier, Stoner.
She's certainly happier on the sack. We've been up here for about the last 7-10 minutes just talking football, which is great. I love talking. I just like talking about it, period. But give me your observations from the game. If you were in the locker room, what would you tell your husband to tell his team?
I'd tell you what, I'd tell that defense to get on the stick. And I'd tell that offense to put some points on the board.
Oh, I love this family. Thank you, Ann.
You're welcome.
Well, no matter which side you're on, it's hard not to like the Bowdens. Such a gregarious group. Deep ball down the middle, incomplete. Through the hands of Curtis Bayham. Pretty good pass by Whitehurst. It was catchable, but Bayham, the senior from New Orleans, didn't come up with it.
And Ann Bowden's seen enough football games to know start on the defense. They have to tighten up first.
Well, they did tighten up, forcing the first punt.
Clemson has had 3 punts blocked this year.
Cole Chasen, the punter, junior from Roswell, Georgia. Of course, Florida State blocked 2 in the 4th quarter last week against NC State. Nearly pulled off a big comeback as a result, but could not quite capitalize. A short punt, just 28 yards. At Clemson Memorial Stadium, Frank Howard Field, named for the legendary coach. 17th ranked Florida State. We talked about what are they playing for. Well, a loss today, you wonder if they might topple right out of the rankings. That should be some motivation. Clemson with plenty of motivation. They need a win to be bowl eligible. If they don't go to a bowl game, it'll be the first time they didn't go in consecutive years since the early 80s. Of course, last year they were eligible but did not go because of the brawl with South Carolina. Both teams decided after that disaster not to go to a bowl game as punishment. Rutherford, a quick throw down the middle. It is caught by the tight end, Matt Henshaw. Nice catch in traffic by Henshaw for a first down to the Clemson 26-yard line, 25-yard gain.
15th catch for Matt Henshaw, the son of George Henshaw, who coaches Tennessee Titans. Longtime assistant to Bobby Bowden.
Matt from Brentwood, Tennessee, right outside Nashville, as you'd expect. 15 catches in a season, his single season best. He's had a nice career at Florida State, playing in his 41st career game. Most catches by an FSU tight end since 1997, when Melvin Pearsall at 31. Anton Smith down to the 22-yard line. And you sense that the Noles are starting to become more engaged in this one.
Yeah, ever since the field goal attempt, then Florida State drove the ball 47 yards, got the field goal, but now they have great field position again.
2nd down and 5. Beautiful day for football. The temperature 59 degrees at kickoff. It'll be up in the mid-60s by the end of the day. Smith cut down in the backfield by Charles Bennett. We talked with Vic Koenig yesterday. He said Gaines Adams gets a lot of the attention. As a matter of fact, when the sports information director Tim Beret was talking to Vic Koenig about who they should nominate for all conference honors, he logically pointed to Adams. Koenig said, well, Bennett might not have the same stats, but he might be the better player.
Bennett is the leader of this defense. Make no mistake about it.
Third down and 9 and another timeout.
We have a timeout, Florida State. That's their 2nd timeout of the half.
That leaves the Seminoles with 1. And a big play call upcoming for Bobby and Jeff Bowden when we come back to Death Valley.
ESPN's College Football, brought to you by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper, one taste and you get it. And the Nikon D50 Digital SLR. Incredible pictures made incredibly easy.
Tillman Hall, the Central Campus landmark, with all the attention. Tiger Nation on Howard Field. Big 3rd down and 9 for Florida State. On the move, down 14 to 3. Weatherford sacked, lost the ball. Gaines Adams knocked it out, and Weatherford got it back.
Gaines Adams roared across this line of scrimmage. Never was touched. Gonna see him come from the outside. Doesn't get blocked, makes the hit on Weatherford.
So Sismasia trying a 47-yard field goal this time, and that one's good. Gary Sismasia, the sophomore from Bradenton, Florida, having an outstanding year. Now 14 for 18 this season in field goals. 2 for 2 last week, 2 for 2 today. His parents, JC and Peggy, have made the trip up from Florida, along with his brother Mike, to watch the game today. And they're within a touchdown and a 2-point conversion now. ABC's regional college football continues at 3:30 Eastern today. USC will be tested against Cal. They've had some memorable games in recent years. Texas hosting Kansas, trying to get bowl eligible the Jayhawks. Miami and Wake Forest, Georgia Tech and Virginia. The Cavaliers of Al Groh, another team trying to earn bowl eligibility today. For those of you on the West Coast, Arizona State at number 14, UCLA at 4 Pacific. Check local listings for the game in your area.
Talked about Kansas. They have Iowa State and Texas left to get that 6th win. Mark Mangino done a very good job there this year. He beat Missouri and started his football team, broke the long streak, beating Nebraska last week.
Very nearly beat Texas last year in Lawrence. You recall he lashed out at the officials, did Coach Mangino, after the Longhorns came back to win. Squib kick this time. It still gets all the way to the return man, Aaron Kelly. He's tall and skinny. He's nearly 6'6". We visited with him yesterday. He is tall and thin, but he runs powerfully on these kickoff returns, running over people that time for a 15-yard return.
He said nobody recruited him till his 3rd game of his senior year in high school.
Didn't play
Brown.
much.
Yeah,
Didn't
Curtis
really start.
Brown, he called the coach and got him in there.
Curtis Brown is his cousin who played at Alabama. Dabo Swinney, the wide receivers coach here at Clemson, played at Alabama. That was the connection. Aaron Kelly said, well, I didn't play much football when I started high school because I was 5'5" as a freshman in high school. He grew a foot while he was in high school. James Davis in at running back. He goes out into the passing area as the pass is complete to Curtis Bayham.
This is a big series for Clemson's offense. All of a sudden, the momentum has slipped through their fingers. Charlie Whitehurst now needs a big series right here. They need to keep their defense on the sideline, get field position back on this Florida State football team.
131 yards after the catch for Clemson. Not much after that catch by Bayham. It was a 7-yard gain, and there's the freshman Davis for the first down. Tackled by A.J. Nicholson, one of the best linebackers in the country. Flag down to the line of scrimmage.
Looked like maybe Florida State was offside.
They're trying to figure out if the run was for more than 5 yards.
Offsides, 82 of the defense. Penalty is refused. Yardage gain results in a first down.
DJ Norris, sophomore, backup. They're playing more and more backups with the mounting injuries, and we cannot understate the injury to Cameron Wimbley, injured last week, sprained his knee against NC State. Some thought it was a questionable block. Mickey Andrews didn't want to criticize NC State, but said it did at least raise some eyebrows.
8 sacks, so you miss him.
Stuckey with the catch, his 7th of the game. This one a short gain of about 3. Here are the key injuries. Of course, Wyatt Sexton was going to be the returning starting quarterback. He came down with Lyme disease in the spring and summer and is just now starting back to practice. Not yet full-time at practice. the key injuries in the offensive line. Wembley, a star of the defense. Antonio Cromartie would have been their best cornerback. He's missed the entire year with the preseason knee injury. And yet they're at 7-2 and already the champions of the Atlantic Division of the ACC. Trying to time the blitz, and they did perfectly. No flags down. Buster Davis. Whitehurst asking where is the flag, but that was just timed beautifully by Buster Davis, the middle linebacker.
Now Buster Davis times this up perfectly. Right here, number 7. Going to come inside. Doesn't get blocked. Make the play on Davis.
Buster Davis, a junior from Daytona Beach, coming off a career high 13 tackles last week against NC State. 3rd and 14 now. They blitz again. Whitehurst under duress and sacked way back near the 20-yard line. Second sack for Florida State. Kyler Hall, the safety, came on a blitz. Lawrence Timmons in there as well. 13 yards on the loss.
Earlier, I said you can't let Charlie Whitehurst get comfortable. In the first 2 drives, he was comfortable. All of a sudden, Mickey Andrews, Kevin Steele, they're heating him up now. They're going to bring the house.
The momentum has definitely shifted in this one. Cole Chasen on the punt again. Much better punt this time. Willie Reed tackled at the 43. Apparently the crowd saw what they deem to be an obvious illegal block that has gone unflagged because they are outraged about something. 44-yard punt and 11-yard return. Lionel Richardson made the tackle. Lost his helmet in the process. No flag and a timeout here in Death Valley.
It's time for your chance to win one of 100 Philips HD TVs with DirecTV service for a year. Log on to 100yardblitz.com to enter. The code word is Screen Pass.
That seems an appropriate code word today. Both these teams like the screens. And right on cue, it's dumped off to Lorenzo Booker, and he's dropped for a loss by Gaines Adams, who's had an enormous first half. Well, both teams like screens. Both teams know each other very well. They're ready for the screens today.
Yeah, the screen pass right there. Gaines Adams just sat right there and played the screen on Lorenzo Booker.
Loss of 3 on the play. Clemson led 14-0. A couple of field goals, and the Seminoles now back within 8. As we approach 3.5 minutes remaining in the first half. Weatherford hit as he throws. Incomplete. Intended for Willie Reed. Our pass complete to Reese Davis.
Always wide open, Sean. Just look for me. Check in on the Big Ten now. Michigan State and Minnesota. Brian Cupido, this is a pretty deep drop. He's got Matt Space for the touchdown. You know, if the Spartans don't rally in this game, it's going to fall to 5-5 and need to beat Penn State just to go to a bowl game. It's 14-3 there. Notre Dame on top of Navy. They've beaten the Midshipmen 41 straight. They're up 7-0.
Here it's 14-6 Clemson. Crowd roaring. 3rd and 13 for the Seminoles. Weatherford caught for a first down. Now they say incomplete on the sideline. Dwayne Coleman had tight coverage on Dakota Fagg. And apparently he lost possession of the ball along the far sideline.
Dwayne Coleman was a running back up until 5 weeks ago. Makes a very good effort to rip that ball out of the hands of Fagg.
You could see Mickey Andrews, the defensive coordinator. He thought Coleman was holding Fagg before the ball got there, and he might have been. And they've had trouble at corner. Last week, their starter, Sergio Gilliam for Clemson, got lit up by Duke and lost his starting job. Dick Coning said, we're forced to play Coleman. They've been teaching him cornerback techniques as the season's gone along. Just a 27-yard punt by Chris Hall. And the Tigers take over with good field position at the 33 as we check in again with Rob Stone.
Well, Sean, Charlie Whitehurst's right throwing shoulder obviously going to be concerned all day today after those last 2 sacks. No medical attention given to him. He's fine physically, but mentally that may be another question. Tommy Bowden came by for an animated chat about how to handle those FSU blitzes they threw that last series at him. And also keep this in mind, both Bowden and the offensive coordinator Rob Spence said, hey, you know what, we're going to keep an eye on Whitehurst. He's going to be on a short leash if he starts stumbling along and bring in the backup.
Will Proctor, he's a very capable backup and starter, as they saw last week when he started against Duke. James Davis out to the 37. Matter of fact, Whitehurst has been hurting for a while, since back to the Boston College game, which was their 4th game of the year. Rob Spence, the offensive coordinator, did not want to start Whitehurst in their game at Georgia Tech. Tommy Bowden overruled him, said he's the veteran starter. I want to go with him. Well, he was ineffective. 3 turnovers in that game. They scored only 9 points, and Tommy Bowden said, I will not do that again. Rob Spence is with those quarterbacks all week. I'm going to go with whatever he wants. Shovel pass into a crowd. That should be an incomplete pass, and is. And they made the decision to go with Whitehurst this week, but they won't hesitate to go to Proctor if need be.
And Sean, when your quarterback doesn't practice, it's very difficult for everybody around. Not only his timing, but the receivers, tight ends, offensive line, the running backs. They need to have a quarterback practice.
And Tommy Bowden made the point, it's true, Whitehurst is the veteran starter, but they're both first-year quarterbacks in this system of Rob Spence. So the lack of practice time is a bigger issue for Whitehurst than it might have been had they stayed in the offense they were in last year and in years prior. 3rd down and 7. And Whitehurst has nowhere to throw it, and he's sacked by Broderick Bunkley. 3rd sack of the day for Florida State. Their 33rd of the year. They started the day with 30. That was 7th in the nation. 10 behind the national leader, Nebraska.
Clemson's got to get back to the running game, because when they ran the football early in this game, they were controlling the rush of Florida State, because Florida State will turn those front 4 loose. They'll roar up the field if you let them.
Cole Chasen will punt. Willie Reed back deep. They come after the punt and block it. 3rd block punt in 2 games for Florida State, and this one winds up as a touchdown. Lawrence Timmons, who had one of the blocks last week, blocked that one, and the Noles are 2 points away from a tie. Looked like the punt was recovered in the end zone by Geno Hayes after it was blocked by Timmons. That's amazing. 2 blocks in the 4th quarter. They almost pulled the game out last week against NC State as a result. And now the first one they really went after in earnest today they get.
And Clemson's had a problem with the punt coverage this year. They have had 4 punts blocked now. They're going to put the ball in the left hash here for the 2-point play.
We have a timeout, Clemson.
Timeout called by the Tigers. They have everything going their way early. Not so now. Florida State, a 2-point conversion away from a tie game after falling behind quickly here, 14-0. Florida State has now blocked 5 punts this season. 3 in their last 3 quarters. Going for 2 after the Clemson timeout. They're 1 for 1 this year in 2-point conversion attempts. Clemson showing blitz. Weatherford has time as a receiver for the 2 points. The Cody Fagg with the 2-point reception. He's been out for the last 3 ball games due to injury. And there's another big target at 6'3", 211 pounds in the back of the end zone.
Runs a slant, open in the back of the end zone, and a nice throw by Drew Weatherford. And Sean, Ann Bowden's going to get her wish, at least at halftime, a close game.
Tag out with an injured shoulder. Suffered against Virginia in their first loss of the year. Sophomore from Quincy, Florida. There was Timmons with the big special teams block. Hayes the recovery. And then the 2-point play.
I go back to Clemson. They have to get back to running the football to protect their quarterback, Charlie Whitehurst, because their offensive line was doing a good job against FSU's defensive line, opening up holes in the running game, helped in the passing game, and all of a sudden now everything's broke down because they're not running the football.
2:03 to go. One timeout left for Tommy Bowden and Charlie Whitehurst. If they want to try to attack when they get this ball back, it might depend on the field position on this kickoff return. Very high kick. Comes down to Kelly with some running room. All the way out to the 39. You would expect the Tigers to be in full attack mode now. Here's Reese.
All right, Sean, coming up on the Pontiac Performance Halftime Report, Lou and Mark alongside, as always, the Big Ten race not done yet. We'll also show you the slight run that the Sooners went on and also talk about Stephen Orr Spurrier against the Gators.
And I will explain to you why it's so difficult for a first-year coach to win in his first season.
It's getting crunch time for some of these bowl teams to become eligible. We're going to tell you which ones may become eligible today.
Clemson got off to a great start, guys. Now Florida State reeling them in. Clemson thinking postseason as well. We'll see you in just a little bit.
Trying to become bowl eligible. The Tigers with a win today. 1st and 10. Clemson at their own 39. Whitehurst throws short to Stuckey. His 8th catch of the ball game out to the 46-yard line. 7-yard completion, and they'll move quickly.
Stuckey, a former quarterback, has to learn how to get off the line of scrimmage, the routes, how to use his hands. He's getting better every week.
Kyle Browning, a running back now, lined up next to Whitehurst. They've almost totally abandoned the run. There's a screen to Stuckey. And he's to the 43 of Florida State. They'll stop the clock to move the chains. 1:22 to go. Each team with one timeout.
Chancey Stuckey's having a great first half. He said he despised high school football when he was playing. He said, but his coaches wouldn't let him quit. And he's thankful for that.
There's more of a basketball player than baseball player. Not so good recently for Clemson, trying to get back in a rhythm. Movement along the defensive line, no flag. Whitehurst intercepted. Passed over the middle, intercepted by Roger Williams. And what started out almost perfectly for Tommy Bowden has quickly turned the other way. 1 minute to go. Now Florida State with a chance to take its first lead.
Roger Williams really looks like a receiver here, stretching out for that pick. I'd say Florida State, a screen pass or a draw here on 1st down. See what they pick up, see if they decide to go down the football field.
Saw Stuckey frustrated. He was open. Whitehurst didn't find him. Only one timeout for the Seminoles. Starting from their own 32-yard line. Flag down. Weatherford runs out of bounds. That motion looked a little bit iffy.
Yeah.
And it is an illegal shift. Weatherford went out of bounds near the line of scrimmage.
Illegal shift, number 11 of the offense. The offensive team was not set for a second prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 1st down.
So Ball back to the 27-yard line. 1st and 15, 53 seconds to go. And a handoff. Lorenzo Booker got the penalty yardage back. And perhaps both coaches now content with the tie and let it be decided in the last 30 minutes of regulation time or in overtime.
Well, when you have a young quarterback, you're backed up like this. Bobby Bowden's going to take this to halftime. His team gained momentum in the second quarter. And really is going into the halftime really feeling good about his football team.
Booker. Well, they might change their mind now. First down out to the 43. 10 seconds to go. Clock stops to move the chains after an 11-yard run. And they're going to wind it and let the half end. Tommy Bowden's Tigers give up a block punt for a touchdown for the first time since 2002, when it happened in a game against North Carolina State. Let's check in with Rob Stone with Bobby Bowden.
Coach, how are you able to turn this momentum around into your favor?
Well, it's the specialty teams and the defense is doing better. They ripped us to pieces their first two drives. Then we got a little bit better. Then that punt was key.
How have you had so much success and why blocking kicks the last couple of weeks?
Well, we got some guys that want to block it. They've done it all year. You have to have somebody that wants to do it. If you ain't got anybody like that, you can't block them.
You got a little note sheet right in front of you. What are you jotting down to tell your men?
Well, I got to go in there and try to get some of these things corrected that you're doing wrong. And coaches, I hope they'll see things that we can work on. You know?
Coach, we appreciate your time. Thank you.
Bobby Bowden, the winningest all-time visiting coach in this stadium. He's won 6 times here. Vince Dooley next on that list with 5. Halftime tied at